The man who called authorities had been keeping an eye on the dogs for a couple of days after finding them chained up with no shade, food, or shelter outside. He soon learned the owners had moved and the dogs had likely been abandoned. The video is hard to watch, but it's something no animal lover could ignore.
It's really sad because it was like, if you've ever seen a video of a dog in a hot car and they're panting so hard, their tongue is coming out of their faces, like the two of them are just in such distress. So
Dennis Connor was checking on a building he owns near Mount Hope off 32nd Street when he spotted two dogs chained up in a filthy backyard.
And they were spinning around. They had no water. They were in the hot sun, no food, and they were just stuck there. It was horrible. They were basically left to die.
Earlier that week, Connor saw the family that lived at the home packing up and leaving like they were moving for good, but the dogs stayed behind. Not knowing if the owners were coming back, for 2 days he watched over the dogs, giving them food, water, and even used these trash bins to build a makeshift shelter to protect them from the blazing sun.
I don't know if they would have made it the day. The older one was down and not moving.
But after a little TLC, the pit bulls perked up.
It felt so good to be there, and their bellies were full of food and water, and they fell asleep. I'm sorry, do you know what I mean? But it told me that they're going to be okay.
After learning the property was being sold and the tenants had actually moved out, Connor contacted the Humane Society, and this afternoon, they came to take the dogs.
During the investigation, I did observe the dogs to be entangled with no access to water or shelter. There was temperature readings taken in the area where the dogs were entangled of over 110 degrees.
Officers peacefully luring the dogs out of a bad situation and into a more hopeful one.
When the animal control officers got them, they just were like, pit bulls are like the nicest breed. It's what people do with them, you know. So, but then again, some people just shouldn't own dogs.
And now that the Humane Society is involved in the case, they'll be contacting the previous renters to find out what led to the dogs being left behind. It is a possibility that cruelty charges could be filed in the case, but officers say it's too early to determine that. As for the dogs, they'll stay at the shelter for treatment until they can find a new home.